Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Jennifer Urezzio, founder and spiritual director of Soul Language and Soul to Business. And of course, this is Ask and Answered by Soul. This podcast is dedicated to providing you with tangible tools to embody your divinity and create a life based on freedom. Each podcast is focused on a topic that will guide you to listening and utilizing your essential nature. During each show, I ask an expert during a conversation 3 key questions so you can understand that you're not alone on this journey and that your soul is the key to forming a life full of abundance, purpose, and passion. The goal of each interview is for you to take away a practice that you can do right now to transform your life and understand what assistance is out there in the universe to support you. And today I am talking to Jennifer Brown. We're talking about how to make change your friend. Jennifer Brown is an award winning speaker, best selling author, and globally recognized authority on inclusion, leadership, and workplace culture. She advises top organizations like Google, IBM, and Gates Foundation, and is the author of How to Be an Inclusive Leader and Beyond Diversity. Her inclusive leader consortium, did I have that right or no?
Continuum.
Continuum
That's
is
okay.
used across industries to drive lasting change. Through her keynote podcast, The Will to Change, and advisory work, Jennifer helps leaders build cultures to belonging where everyone can thrive. She lives in New York with her partner of 25 years, Michelle. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited that you're here.
Me too.
Okay. So we know the one thing that changes constant, and we all roll our eyes at that because none of us really love change. So how do we not, because I have worry energy, right? How do we not fight against that change?
How do we not fight it? Well, I think it's understanding why do we fight it? There's so much to unpack in, whether it's our ego being attached to our past successes, whether it is our sense of security, that's needs that have been met by being good at something or having expertise in something or something we could count on that gave us status and community. Um, so there are really good reasons. Like we come at our badness at change, I think very honestly.
Yeah,
Like it's a very human thing to, particularly as you get older, to feel like life is this trajectory, this upward trajectory, and
right,
that somehow we're told that if we build and build and build and show up and keep showing up and keep investing, that we will then have something we can hold.
right.
And I think what this world is showing us is that nothing is ours to hold. And that is that such a bad thing, and that's the sort of Jedi mind trick of pivoting and change easily. It's almost like letting go a little of the steering wheel. It's having a
Yeah,
ton of faith. It's saying there is something here that I am meant to tune into. And the more I hold on to what was, perhaps the less room I have to really be present right now, which is where we actually do the best in
right.
change.
Where miracles happen.
Hmm.
So speaking of, past and change, what has your soul shared with you throughout your journey?
Well, I think what it's shared with me, my particular makeup is I will cling and fight and hang in there because I'm so conscientious and I'm so committed. I will probably overstay my welcome. I think that's what it's told me. I mean, when I was an opera singer, I sang and sang and sang and wanted it so much and did everything I could. And then I ended up hitting a wall and hurting my voice and getting surgery. And look, if I could have somehow muscled my way back into a career in it, I would have. I have so much will. So, but I had to be brought to my knees to pivot and to be
Yeah,
forced to pivot. So I think that for me, and I don't know if anybody listening is like this, but when you have so much tied up in something, so much sunk costs, so much reputational connection, so much joy. Honestly, I loved singing. I mean, it was inconceivable that I couldn't be on the stage. But it sometimes in our lives takes that kind of force. And what I wish for all of us, including myself, is that I didn't get to that point.
right.
That's what I wish. So the sole invitation for me is, hey Jen, hold it
Change
lighter.
is good.
Hold it lighter.
Yeah.
Don't Don't carry it with you.
Yeah.
Like lighten your backpack. You
And
need
that
to.
goes really beautifully into the topic, right? Because when we are overstaying our welcome, when we are fighting the change, when we are knowing in every part of us that we need to pivot and we're still ignoring it, there is everyone, there is a little tiny spider on my computer and it keeps just waving at me.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Hello,
I'm
friend.
trying to ignore you.
Hmm.
Right. And so when we're kind of like battling that, we're not making change our friend. We're actually swimming uphill, right? Instead of, which we're all going to roll our eyes right now. What I'm going to say is instead of enjoying the journey, right? But how do we, as resilient people, as will focused, as warriors, how do we go, okay, this is a good thing, or let me see the potential of this, or even know the warning signs like, hey, things are changing, time to pivot.
That's right. Yep. I think how do we spot it? How do we spot
Don't be
the,
freak.
yeah, we're so busy enjoying the ride or doubling down or defending. Yeah, that I think it's like laying your armor down.
Yeah.
I always see that I see myself as a warrior who's sleeping in my armor. I mean, I just had this image as you were talking. I never take it off.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, everyone.
Yeah, it's really not a good thing. I mean, you must be this soft, vulnerable body, like for long periods of each day, like
Yeah.
not just while you're sleeping, but like, the warrior, what does rest look like for a warrior? And what does being present, not to the battle and not to the need to defend, but to the sort of tuning into, what is meant for you and your soul. And I don't think you can do that with your armor on.
No.
But anyway, and my armor wasn't bad. My armor allowed me to do so much. I had to bushwhack through the forest. I had to defend. I had to, like, I wanted to do that. Part of that is absolutely the work I do. Um,
Yeah, and here's the thing, when we become that steel marshmallow, like hard on the outside, fluffy on the inside, and like allow that armor to bend, it really opens up our receiving. It opens up that dialogue with divinity, and it allows us to approach change, pivoting our life with a lot more, hey, I'm going to be safe. And hey, look, I said in my head, I could use this, and look what comes along, right? It's really about understanding that you're not the only one in the army. And if you can lay down your armor, even for a brief amount of time, the universe, tree, Bob, God, whatever you call that, will step in and support you. And oh, he's back. And we're
He's
gonna
our
break.
spider friend. I think they
There's
want
a
to be in
spider.
this conversation.
Well, spiders are all about, fertility and growth and all of that. And so,
Also, by the
wow,
way, they're about patiently waiting.
yeah,
So this is exactly
interesting.
what we're talking about.
All right, everyone, we'll be back in a second and we'll finish up this conversation. All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm with Jennifer Brown, and we're talking about change with our spider friend, who we are just going to call Stella. And so we were talking about really letting go of the armor in order to receive more, approach change, have a more kind of fertile ground. When when people are getting ready to, when the world is so turbulent, right? There's a lot of change happening. There's a lot of change in your field happening. There's a lot of change happening across the board.
Mm.
What do you suggest people kind of be and do to feel a lot? I think with change, people can go a little insane, right? There's so much changing that they don't have anything to anchor to. So,
Mhm.
what do you suggest about how they can anchor or how they can weather that change?
Yeah, well, it is, setting up the circumstance as often as you can to feel joy. And if that's something that you're not you don't have a lot of in your life, like that's the place to start. But usually, when we go through the course of our day, there are tasks that bring us joy, and there are absolutely many that don't. Hopefully, that's not all of your day.
Yeah.
But the joy of, oh, I could do this all day. I'm in flow. It's easy. I feel good at it. I feel kind of reminded of my genius, my heart, right? I mean, those moments of alignment are so precious these days more than ever because everything is conspiring, I think, in this world to pull us off of that.
Yeah.
But if we tune in differently to, change the dial on the radio, to use a really dated expression, if you change the frequency, you could say everything in the universe is conspiring to bring you joy, actually. But are you kind of making space available to hear that signal? And then are you leaning into it and letting it fill you and remembering what it feels like and I would say analyzing why does it feel this way because there's always a clue in the joy um, to pursue it to understand what is it about this that feels so nourishing.
Yeah.
And then the question is, how do I, of course, like set up more containers like that, more conversations, more people in my life, more tasks like that? Maybe I set up a business that does that. Maybe it is, I'm going to shift my role so I can be in the best role. I think a lot of us are in the wrong role, Jennifer, in whether it's in our own company or for me, it's always been if you stick me in operations and process, it's not a happy place for me and it's not a skilled place for me. If you put me out in front as an evangelist and a messenger and somebody who's convincing people and inspiring people, that's where you want me. That's where you
Yeah.
want me. So if I look at my life and I say, okay, so I'm spending most of my day not being that, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So the older you get, the clearer you should be on these things because we have more and more data and evidence all around us from our professional lives and our personal lives of where is my unique gift and am I living that frequently? Or am I like nudging my life or redesigning my life to pursue that? Because that's when we're going to be the most successful, the happiest, the most lucrative probably for us. And it's all about we can't be everything to everyone. Uh, and I know what I'm talking about is kind of a luxury, and it's very difficult in difficult economic times to customize in this way. And I totally understand that too. But hey, if it's 5% of your day,
That's
lean into it, remember it, and seek it.
yeah. And here's the thing. We're also given a bunch of roles that we didn't assign ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if you look at those roles about what brings you joy there, and if you can redefine them in any way, that is also going to bring more joy in your life. And recently I heard this concept about joy stacking, right? Like let joy build on other joy and take joy where there is. We I had to get up awful early this morning. To drive Warner to his parents. And I was
Mm.
like, oh my God, it's so early. But I'm like, oh my God, it's so crisp, right? It's like that fall, like I'm like, oh, like allow the little things to wrap around you and really focus on those things that bring you joy that don't rely on another human being. Right.
Mm.
Because if you do that, you're kind of going to be behind the eight ball. Right. So find those little pieces of joy inside of you and allow those to expand just by feeling that energy and just saying, okay, grow and see what happens and keep those moving forward. Cause I think that's the key.
Beautiful.
Thank you. What big questions have you been asking yourself lately?
Well, I always ask, in addition to joy, who am I meant to serve and what ideas am I meant to put my weight behind right now? In this world, I've been very clear about that for 20 years. I had a career in DEI, and we all know what's happened with that. But I was very clear of who I was serving, what I was there to do, and I was good at it. I was good
Yeah.
at my role in it. It was very good. So it felt, I know what that alignment feels like, which has made, I think, this shift really hard because it wasn't imperfect. I mean, it wasn't complete, but it was extremely fulfilling what
Right.
I had found. And I may never find it again. Who knows?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think the world has to shift it back, right? Like, yeah,
we'll see. We'll
I'm
see.
I'm really white hat kind of girl. So I know that it needs to shift back. I think the consciousness goes up, right? We hardly ever go back. So there will be the pendulum will go forward. I mean,
Yeah.
everything will look different, but I think it will open up the space for whole really rich conversations
Mm,
and something really new to be birthed in a whole new way for evolution.
yeah.
And we're going to hold that thought, everyone, because we're going to be back after this ad. All right, welcome back. I'm talking to Jennifer Brown today about change. What do you like about change?
Mm. What do I like? I love feeling that I can be resilient at any age, that I can remember what it's been like to pivot through change and remembering I got through to the other side, and I have that even though we doubt ourselves in the moment that like we don't know what's ahead and oh my goodness, catastrophize, like am I going to get through? Is there going to be, a path for me? But I think if we think back on our lives, we have successfully changed many times. Many times we've pivoted. We've been, inventive and creative and courageous. So what I like about it is it's a huge growth, another F growth
Yeah,
opportunity.
exactly. I
Um,
appreciate the no cursing because then I have to hit that little button on the
no
podcast thing.
cursing.
Yeah.
Um, AFGO. But it's so what I like about it is it forces the growth. I mean, it's truly almost like fertilizer in the plant, but it's not comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not by definition, it's not. So I don't know if I like it. I think I appreciate it. I like that word better. I
Yeah.
appreciate it and I know it's necessary because otherwise we go to sleep. We keep, repeating. We get into patterns. We do the easy thing. We don't evolve, to use your word. And but the evolution has to be, winter forges the spring growth. And that spring growth can't happen without what happens in the winter. Like it's the catalyst. So we live lives though that I think skip over the seasons. We skip over the rites of passage. We skip over the loss and the endings and the grief that has to happen in order to birth something new. Like we are the caterpillar that expects to become the butterfly without turning into the slurry first.
Yeah,
And
it's a totally different creature. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that it still blows my like it's DNA, it's not the same. Like, that's
it's wild.
incredible, right? And you know, I know that I might look the same, but I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago. And
Mm.
I think that my evolution and my change has been for the better. And I try to personally, I try to remember that when a big change is coming. Um,
Me too.
but as we're wrapping up, I have two last questions for you. Well, three. One, what kind of support do people need during those change events?
Mm. Mm. Wow. People in your life reminding you of who you are. So grounding you to, yes, the DNA changes, but there's in the caterpillar, there's a lot of like, I don't know, evergreen or true characteristics, and I think, again, a life is about kind of peeling that onion, getting to the essence of who we are. And when you have people in your life that have seen you joyful and can remind you about that as it gets dark, as it gets confusing and you can't find your way and there's no lights and there's no signposts, when you feel that you can be picked up off the ground and in the really, really big changes. That and like I loved how you said, reminding ourselves that everything is cyclical. Like we cannot skip stages in the cycle. Like we are nature's beings. We're
Yeah.
not we can think that and in modern life, we can think we keep the lights on all night. We think we can skip, not notice the seasons. We have this modern life that allows us to feel sort of exceptional from that. And I think that's something I've reminded myself too. It's necessary and there's beauty in it. And I have so much company in also going through it in the world. And I mean, not just human
Yeah.
company. I mean, like every being, every tree, every, like it is all around us that actually death, rebirth happens constantly. And so, that also gives you kind of a hope for the next cycle, that
Mm,
this cycle will not last forever, too. Because
right.
if we take this as our guide, there's always the spring after the winter.
Always the spring. Right.
There's
And like the
always.
sun will always come up, right? Like, and some days those two things have got me through some pretty dark times. Like, okay, just another hour, the
Just
sun's
get to
coming up, right?
the
Right. And it's true to have those members of your support and inner circle that remind you, and also that can help you kind of joy lift when you're like, yeah, I'm not doing it today, right? Even if it's just, a little laughter, a good cup of chai, whatever you need to kind of
Yeah.
move you through that.
And perspective too, the more people you speak to honestly and vulnerably, I think too, that's the other thing, letting the armor down, even in our conversations with each other, saying, I'm confused, I'm a bit lost, um, uh, can we brainstorm? I think admitting to that and asking for that is a challenge for some of us who are very used to being very successful, hyper ambitious, very accomplished. It is a very, very hard, humbling thing. And so part of my exercise has been to be vulnerable in that way, as uncomfortable as it is. I know, I know the community, there are answers in community.
Mhm.
And but I have to make myself available to that. Is
Nobody's a mind reader. As much as we say we are not a
no,
mind reader. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
So,
So
how do people get in touch with you? How did they get more of your goodness?
no, thank you. I would love to hear from folks. I'm at jenniferbrownspeaks.com. And you'll find me on LinkedIn under that as well. And Jennifer Brown Speaks on Instagram. And I have, gosh, my fifth book is coming out, hopefully before the end of the year, called The Shape of Change. So we're
Beautiful.
really, really, it's very personal. It's a very personal book. It's a lot of what we talked about today. So
Love
it's
it.
not so much like how to be an inclusive leader for leaders and, whatever, but it's, I've been wanting to write something much more personal for a long time. And this is my first, hopefully, of
Beautiful.
many. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Oh, and then my podcast is called The Will to Change,
Love
speaking
it.
of change.
Love it. And my last question is, if you were a magnet on your higher powers refrigerator, what would your magnet say?
Oh, oh, come here and be safe.
Ooh, I love it. Well, I want to thank you so much for this great conversation. And thank you for indulging me in my spider conversation.
Thank you, Spider, for joining us, whoever you are. Clearly.
Everyone, you've been listening to Ask and Answered by Soul. Of course, I'm Jennifer Urezzio. This podcast is dedicated to helping you understand that your soul is the answer. If you're interested in learning more about your soul's answer and your purpose, you can access your free guide at themythsofpurpose.com. Please feel free to share this podcast with your community, leave a comment, or contact me directly. But most importantly, reach out to these amazing guests because you will not be sorry. All right, everyone. Bye for now.